After 57 days of endless drought, the first rain finally came. The whole city was celebrating. But nobody knew that this rain would fall for exactly 300 days. Thank God, the heavens finally opened their eyes. Auntie Zhang downstairs was screaming at the top of her lungs, her voice completely breaking. The plants on her balcony had withered away ages ago, and now she was frantically hauling her flower pots outside. Just so they could get a good, long soak, I stood by the window, staring out at the gloomy, gray sky. The raindrops battered against the glass, making a sharp, crisp sound. 57 days. A full 57 days without a single drop of rain. The reservoirs had completely dried up. Water and power were strictly rationed, and we even had to set a timer just to take a shower. But now, the rain was finally here. The entire city of Yuzhou was going absolutely crazy. My name is Zhou Mian. I am 32 years old. I work as a designer at an ad agency in Times Square, and I live on the 6th floor of a rundown apartment block in the South District. My place isn't very big, just 68 square meters. But it's perfectly fine for just me. Suddenly, my phone started vibrating like crazy. Our company group chat was exploding. It's raining. It's actually raining. Hot pot tonight, let's go. The boss said we don't even have to clock in tomorrow. I let out a small smile, and turned off my screen. The truth is, I really don't like the rain. Or to be more precise, I'm terrified of it. On a rainy night exactly 5 years ago, I was driving across the Yangtze River Bridge. My tires completely lost their grip, and my entire car crashed right through the guardrail, plunging straight into the river. Down in that freezing, pitch-black water, I nearly drowned. Ever since that night, I have the exact same nightmare whenever it rains. I dream that I'm trapped inside that sinking car, feeling the river water gush in through the cracks, slowly rising over my mouth and nose. Boom, a massive clap of thunder jolted me right back to reality. The rain was getting heavier. And not just a normal heavy. It was the kind of brutal downpour that actually hurts when it hits you. I frowned, and pulled up the weather app. An orange alert for a severe rainstorm. Rainfall over the next 6 hours is expected to exceed 50 millimeters. Citizens are advised to take immediate precautions. 50 millimeters in 6 hours? That is way too intense. I heard a loud burst of cheering from downstairs. I leaned out to take a look, and saw that everyone in my complex had rushed outside. They were literally jumping and dancing in the rain, acting like it was some huge festival. Old Chen, the building manager, was waving a megaphone around, shouting, "Everyone, please be careful. The ground is incredibly slippery." But nobody paid him any attention. I pulled the window shut, completely shutting out the sound of the rain. Even so, a deep sense of unease started creeping into my chest. This rain, there was just something wrong with it. By 10 o'clock that night, it was still pouring. I made myself a quick bowl of instant noodles and started mindlessly scrolling through my phone. My feed was completely flooded with videos of people celebrating the rain. Some folks were even throwing rooftop rain parties. The news anchors were reporting that the entire southwest region was getting hit with massive rainfall. Saying the drought was finally coming to an end, I set my phone down, and walked slowly over to the window. The rain was violently dumping from the sky like an absolute waterfall. Visibility was down to less than 10 meters, and the lights from the building across the street were already turning into a blurry, glowing smear. My phone rang. It was a message from my mom. "It's pouring rain. Are you doing okay over there?" My mom lives in a rural suburb, over 40 kilometers away from the city. "I'm doing fine. The rain's just a bit heavy." "Same here, it's been raining since the afternoon. The yard is completely flooded now. Your dad says he hasn't seen rain this heavy in years." "Hasn't seen in years." My heart skipped a beat. "Mom, you guys should move your important stuff upstairs. Just in case." "What are you thinking, kiddo? It's just some rain." I wanted to say something, but I couldn't put my finger on it, so I just reminded her. "Just be careful anyway." I hung up the phone. I sat on the couch in a daze. The news was playing on the TV. Yuzhou City's rainfall has reached 73 millimeters, setting a new single-day record for the past 10 years. I picked up my phone and opened a shopping app. As if possessed, I started placing orders. 20 boxes of instant noodles, 10 boxes of compressed biscuits, 5 cases of bottled water, and 30 cans of luncheon meat. After placing the order, even I was stunned. Why did I buy so much? Is it really going to rain for a whole month? Outside the window, the rain sounded like beating drums. Day 3, and it was still pouring. The weather forecast had been upgraded to a red alert for rainstorms. I asked for time off and didn't go to work. It wasn't that I didn't want to go, I literally couldn't. The water downstairs was already half a meter deep. The whole neighborhood had turned into a pond. Old Chen from property management was wading through the water in a raincoat, yelling, "First floor residents, hurry up and move your things. The water is coming inside." I leaned against the windowsill and looked down. A few first floor tenants were scrambling to move their furniture out, but there was nowhere to put it. They could only pile it up in the hallway. My phone rang. It was my supervisor calling. "Zhou Mian, the company's underground parking garage is flooded. Don't bother coming in today." "Got it, boss. Is everything okay on your end?" I glanced at the pond downstairs. "It's all right. The water's just a bit deep. Take care, man. This rain is totally bizarre." I hung up the phone and pulled up the news. The entire southwest region was getting hammered by rainstorms, not just Y province. C province and Q province were both oceans of water. What's even weirder was, it was raining overseas too. On Twitter, New York, London, the whole world was posting videos of torrential rain. NASA states, the global abnormal rainfall may be related to sudden changes in atmospheric circulation. Meteorological organizations say, this is a once-in-a-century extreme weather event. Once in a century? I put down my phone. I walked to the kitchen. A portion of the supplies I ordered yesterday had already arrived. They were piled up in the corner. Looking at all this stuff, I was actually a little glad for my own paranoia. A knock came at the door. I looked out through the peephole. It was Mrs. Lee from downstairs. "Little Joe, are you home?" "Mrs. Lee, what's up?" Mrs. Lee looked a bit embarrassed. "Could you lend me some food? We just ran out of rice at home. With rain like this, I can't even go out for groceries." I turned around and grabbed a bag of rice for her. "Here, take this. Thank you so much. I will replace it as soon as the rain stops." Watching Mrs. Lee walk away, I suddenly realized something. What if the rain just never stops? That night, the building group chat blew up. The whole first floor is flooded. My renovations cost hundreds of thousands, and it is all ruined. Water got into the elevators, they are down. When is it gonna stop? If this keeps up, the building is going to collapse. Old Chen sent a message in the group. "Attention residents, please do not panic. The authorities are organizing drainage efforts. Everyone, please cooperate with us. Residents on the first and second floors can temporarily move to the higher floors to take shelter." How are we supposed to cooperate? I walked over to the window. You could not see a single thing outside anymore. The rain was like a solid wall, cutting off the entire world. My phone rang again. It was my mom. "Honey, there was a landslide over here. The road into the city is cut off." "What? Are you guys okay?" "We are fine, but we might have to stay in the village for a while. Just be careful out there by yourself." "Mom, do you guys still have food over there?" Yes, we do. Do not worry about us. It is you we are worried about. All alone in the city." The call suddenly dropped. I tried calling back, but it said the number could not be reached. The signal was starting to get unstable, too. At 2 in the morning, I was jolted awake by a massive crash. That rumbling was not thunder. Is the building shaking? I jumped out of bed and rushed to the window. The old residential building across the street. An entire section of it had just collapsed. Through the pouring rain, faint cries for help were coming from the rubble. My hands were shaking. This was not just a normal rainstorm. This was a disaster. Day 7. The power went out. I woke up sweating. With no AC, the room was as stuffy as a sauna. I flicked the switch. The lights did not turn on. I walked over to the window. The entire neighborhood was pitch black. Just the sound of the rain. The never-ending sound of rain. My phone still had some battery, but the signal kept dropping in and out. I opened the news. The last update was from yesterday afternoon. Urgent notice. Y City's power grid has been severely damaged by the rainstorms. Emergency repairs are underway. How are they supposed to do repairs in this kind of rain? I clicked on my flashlight and checked my supplies. I still have 4 cases of water. If I ration the food, it could last 20 days. But without power, then everything in the fridge is going to rot. A knock on the door rang out. "Who is it?" "It is me, Old Chen." I opened the door. Old Chen was completely soaked, his face pale. "Joe, do you have any food? Could you share a little with everyone? The flood has already reached the 3rd floor. A lot of people have absolutely nothing to eat." I stayed silent for a moment. I don't have much myself. And that is the truth. I only have a 20-day supply. If I split it with others, we might not even last 10 days. Old Chen let out a heavy sigh. I know, he let out a raspy sigh. When is this nightmare going to end? He turned around to leave. I stopped him. Wait, I went back inside and grabbed 2 packs of instant noodles. Make these last. Old Chen's eyes grew red. Thank you. I closed the door and leaned heavily against it. I am no saint. I just can't bear to just watch people die. But if the rain keeps pouring down, who can I really save? At noon, an argument broke out in the hallway. Why the hell should you stay at my place? I barely have enough space as it is. But my place is completely flooded. Where else am I supposed to go? That is your problem. Do you have any humanity left? The shouting grew more and more intense, followed by the sound of a scuffle. I peeked through the peephole. It was Wang from the 4th floor and Zhao from the 2nd floor arguing. Zhao wanted to crash at Wang's place, but Wang was having none of it. Enough. Old Chen stepped in, pulling the 2 men apart. Look at the situation we are in, and you are fighting each other. Zhao, just squeeze in at my place for now. And Wang, do not be so heartless. We are all neighbors here. HMPH. Neighbors? Who the hell is neighbors with him? Listen, Old Chen, if you want to play the saint, go right ahead. Just leave me out of it. Wang slammed his door shut, and the hallway fell dead silent. Nothing was left but the sound of the rain. I clicked off my flashlight. Sitting alone in the dark. Human nature really cannot stand up to the test. That night, I counted my food rations. 19 days left. If I give any more away, it might only last 15 days. Is the rain going to stop in 15 days? I walked over to the window, hoping to see what was happening outside. It was pitch black. I could not see a single thing. But I could hear, beneath the pounding rain, there were other sounds. Crying, screaming, praying. The entire city was weeping. I shut the window, blocking out the noise outside. But they just kept echoing in my head. I picked up my phone. The battery was at 43%. I closed all unnecessary apps and turned the brightness all the way down. I had to conserve it. This might be my very last lifeline to the outside world. Opening my notes app, I began to type. Day 7 of the blackout. The water level downstairs is at about 9 meters, reaching the 3rd floor. The remaining supplies can last for 19 days. After writing that down, I lay in bed. I closed my eyes, but all I could hear was the rain, pitter-patter. Like the Grim Reaper knocking on my door. Day 15. I woke up starving. My stomach felt completely empty, like a hand was scratching at my insides. I only had half a pack of instant noodles all day yesterday, but it just wasn't enough. I've only got 11 days of supplies left. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that the water has already flooded the 5th floor. And I live on the 6th. If it keeps rising at this rate, it'll flood my place in 3 days tops. I have to do something. I dragged myself up to the roof. The moment I pushed open the door, the pouring rain smashed into me, soaking me to the bone in an instant. The entire city of Y has turned into a vast ocean. All those familiar buildings, only their rooftops are showing. The shorter houses are completely gone. The water is a sickly yellowish brown, covered in all kinds of floating garbage. And other things. I didn't dare to look too closely. Is anyone out there? I screamed into the pouring rain. The only answer was the sound of the rain. Wait, what is that? About 200 meters away on another rooftop. There's a silhouette moving. I waved my arms frantically. Hey, I'm over here. They must have seen me. They started waving back. They're alive. There are still people alive out here. Just knowing that gave me a little bit of hope. On my way downstairs, I ran into Old Man Chen. Or rather, I should say I found his body. He was slumped against the wall in the stairwell, not breathing. He was still clutching an empty tin can. I just stood there, staring at him for a long time. Just 3 days ago, he came to my door begging for food. I gave him my last spare can. And now, he's dead. Starved to death. I crouched down beside him. Rest in peace, Old Chen. When I got back to my apartment, I counted my supplies again. 10 days. No, wait. If the water keeps rising, I won't even last 10 days. I have to get out of here. But where do I go? And how am I supposed to get there? It's just endless water outside and I don't have a boat. Swim? I can't even swim 100 meters. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. I have a signal. I grabbed my phone frantically. It was a news alert. Emergency. Temporary shelter established at Mount Yufeng. The government is organizing rescue boats to pick up survivors. Mount Yufeng, highest mountain in the city, at an altitude of 1,300 meters. If I can just make it there. But Mount Yufeng is all the way up north. That's at least 20 kilometers away from here. 20 kilometers by water. My palms started to sweat as I stared out at the flooded ruins. Water, my absolute biggest fear, but if I stay here, I'm definitely going to die. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Who is it, Zhou Mian? It's me, Zhang Ting, from upstairs. Zhang Ting? The nurse who lives on the 8th floor. I opened the door to find a completely exhausted woman standing there. I'm so sorry to bother you. I just wanted to ask if you had any food left? My daughter hasn't eaten anything in 2 days. Right behind her, a little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, was staring at me nervously. Her tiny face was so skinny, it looked like nothing but big, hollow eyes. My heart instantly melted. Come on inside. Zhang, did you see the news alert? There's a shelter on Yufeng Mountain. She nodded. I saw that, but how do we even get there? We have to figure something out. It's better to risk it all than just sit here waiting to die. Zhang Ting looked at her daughter. But, Xiaoyi doesn't know how to swim, and neither do I. We could build a raft. I suddenly blurted out. The idea was completely insane. But we were completely out of options. A raft? The doors in the hallway, foam boxes. Anything that floats, we can use. If we tie them all together, maybe, just maybe it'll work. It might be a suicide mission, but it beats just sitting here waiting to die. I'm with you. Zhang Ting gritted her teeth. For Xiaoyi's sake, I'll try absolutely anything. I looked at her, then down at the little girl. All right, we do this together. At least I wasn't facing this nightmare alone anymore. Day 18. The water had already reached the 6th floor windows. And our raft was finally ready. 8 wooden doors formed the base, strapped tight over foam boxes and empty plastic bottles. It looked incredibly sketchy, but it should hold our weight. Mommy, do we really have to get on that? Xiaoyi's voice trembled as she clutched her ragdoll. Zhang Ting gently stroked her head. Don't be scared, sweetie. Uncle will keep us safe. I forced a bitter smile. Keep them safe? I couldn't even protect myself. The nightmare from 5 years ago was still fresh in my mind. And now, here I was, throwing myself right back into the water. But there was no going back. The water in the hallway was already waist deep. If we waited any longer, we wouldn't even be able to push the raft out. You ready? I asked. Zhang Ting nodded, holding Xiaoyi tight against her chest. We waded through the water, pushing the raft toward the roof. The water was murky, forcing us to take every step with extreme caution. The stairwell was filled with floating debris, and, don't look, I quickly covered Xiaoyi's eyes. We finally made it to the roof. The rain had let up a bit, but the wind was howling. The entire Y region was completely submerged. Those familiar landmarks now had only their roofs showing. Is that the time monument? Zhang Ting pointed into the distance. The once bustling city center was gone, leaving only the very tip of the monument breaking the surface. Together, we shoved the raft out onto the open water. It wobbled violently, but it stayed afloat. I'll get on first, I told her. Hand Xiaoyi over to me. The little girl burst into terrified tears. No, I don't want to. Be a good girl, Xiaoyi, Uncle will keep you safe. Zhang Ting gently coaxed her. Mommy, I'm so scared. Mommy's coming up too. We'll all be together, okay? Finally, all 3 of us were on the makeshift raft. I grabbed the wooden plank I'd saved for a paddle and started rowing. The raft slowly drifted away from the rooftop. North, Yufeng Mountain was to the north. I squinted, trying to get our bearings. Rain lashed against my face, blending with my tears. 5 long years, and here I was, swallowed by the water all over again. Watch out! Zhang Ting's scream snapped me back to reality. A massive pile of wreckage was drifting straight toward us, with a jagged piece of rebar sticking out. It nearly punctured the raft. I frantically paddled to steer us away. The current was so much faster than I expected, and the raft was slipping out of control. Uncle, I'm so cold. Xiaoyi curled up in her mom's arms, shivering. Zhang Ting took off her jacket and wrapped it around her. We're almost there. Just hold on a little longer. But honestly, we all knew that rowing 20 kilometers by hand would take at least 7 or 8 hours. That is, if the raft could even hold together that long. Suddenly, a cry for help echoed in the distance. Help, somebody help me. It was a man's voice, coming from up ahead on the right. I looked over and saw a guy clinging to a floating fridge, waving his arms frantically. Save me, please, I'm begging you. Zhang Ting looked at me. Should we? I gritted my teeth, steered the raft around, and paddled toward him. Adding another person would make the raft dangerously heavy, but I just couldn't leave him there to die. As we got closer, I saw it was a middle-aged man. His clothes were shredded, and his face was deadly pale. "Thank you," he stammered, shivering as he scrambled onto the raft. The raft noticeably sank a bit under his weight. "Where did you come from?" I asked him. Zhongbei. Our building collapsed yesterday. I was the only one who made it out alive. From Zhongbei to here. He must have been floating for a whole day and night." "Bro, where are you guys headed?" "Yufeng Mountain," I replied. His eyes immediately lit up. "Oh, thank God, that's exactly where I'm trying to go. I heard they have food up there." Heavy silence fell over the raft. The four of us, 3 adults and a child, drifting endlessly across the vast water. I kept rowing. My arms were screaming in pain, but I didn't dare to stop. We had to get there before dark. Being out on the water at night was just too dangerous. 2 hours later, the rain finally stopped. It was the first time the rain had stopped in 18 days. Rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, shimmering on the water. "Mommy, look, the sun," Xiaoyi cheered excitedly. We all looked up. That single ray of sunlight felt like a sliver of hope. But just as quickly, the dark clouds swallowed it up again. The rain started pouring down once more. We drifted for another 4 hours. My hands were covered in bleeding blisters. Every stroke sent a piercing pain shooting through me. But what was even worse, the raft was falling apart. The ropes had gone completely soft from soaking in the water. The gaps between the wooden doors were getting wider and wider. "Over there's a gas station roof over there," the middle-aged man suddenly yelled. About 100 meters ahead, the canopy of a gas station was sticking out of the water. Paddled with every last ounce of my strength. "Hurry, climb up." I pushed Xiaoyi up first, followed by Zhong Ting. The middle-aged man scrambled up on all fours. I was the last one up. And right at the exact moment I pulled myself onto the roof. Crash! The raft completely broke apart. The wooden doors drifted off in all directions, and the foam boxes bobbed away in the current. We just stared at each other in shock. If we had been just 1 minute slower. "What do we do now?" Zhong Ting held Xiaoyi tightly, her face totally pale. The roof was tiny, and all 4 of us were crammed onto it. We could slip off into the water at any second. Plus, without the raft, we were completely trapped here. "Mommy, I'm hungry," Xiaoyi whimpered softly. Zhong Ting dug into her pocket and pulled out half a soggy cracker. "Here, sweetie, eat this." I reached into my bag and pulled out our very last pack of emergency rations, breaking it into 4 pieces. "Make it last," I told them. "Hey bro, you got any more food in that bag?" he asked, licking his cracked lips. "No, we don't." I watched him closely, totally on edge. The look in his eyes was making my skin crawl. "You sure that's it?" He kept shooting greedy glances at my backpack. "Lao Wang, was it?" I stood up. "Times are hard for everyone right now, so don't get any twisted ideas." He lowered his head sheepishly. I was just asking." The tension in the air was palpable. Zhong Ting hugged Xiaoyi tight and shifted closer to me. Right at that moment, the faint hum of an engine drifted from the distance. "It's a boat." A motorized rescue boat came into view. There were people on it wearing life jackets. "Over here, we're over here," we screamed and waved frantically. The boat adjusted its course and steered straight toward us. We were saved. "Are you guys okay?" Voice shouted from the boat. It was a government rescue team. "We're heading to Yufeng Mountain. Get on board, hurry." We were hoisted onto the boat, one by one. The second my feet touched the deck, my legs turned to jelly and I nearly dropped to my knees. "You folks are pretty lucky," one of the rescue workers said. "This is our very last run. The base is almost completely out of supplies. I don't know how much longer we can hold out." The last run. What if they hadn't crossed paths with us? "Sit tight, we still have an hour's journey ahead." The boat's engine roared to life. I glanced back at the gas station canopy. Just minutes ago, it was our only sanctuary. And now, it was shrinking into a tiny speck in the endless ocean. "Mister?" Xiaoyi gave my shirt a gentle tug. "What's wrong, kiddo?" "Thank you." Her eyes were perfectly clear and bright, like a single spark of light in this dreary, gray world. I gently patted her head. "I need to thank you too. Thank you for showing me that I haven't lost all my courage just yet." 1 hour later, we arrived at Yufeng Mountain. The hillside was absolutely covered with a dense sea of tents. It was packed with people. "New arrivals, head over there to register. Listen up, everyone gets exactly 1 ration per day. No fighting, and no causing trouble." Someone was barking orders through a megaphone. We stepped off the boat, and followed the surging crowd, feeling the solid earth under my boots. Felt like waking up from a past life. Zhou Mian, Zhang Ting called out, stopping me. Thank you. If it weren't for you, don't mention it. I gently cut her off. We all made it out alive. That's what really matters. Tears welled up in her eyes. Will we ever see each other again? I stared out at the chaotic mob of people. We will, even though deep down, we both knew that in a place like this, tomorrow was a luxury. But at least right now, we were still breathing. And that was enough. The Yufeng Mountain temporary shelter was essentially a total madhouse. Over 10,000 people crammed onto the side of the mountain. Tents were shoved tightly against one another. The air reeked of sweat, rotting garbage, and harsh disinfectant. Name? Zhou Mian. Age? 32. Any medical history? None. The registration volunteer handed me a number tag. Zone C, 273. Zone C is over there. 2 meals a day, 7 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. Remember your number. Miss it, and you're out of luck. I held onto my number tag, pushing my way through the crowd. There were people everywhere. Some were leaning against trees, staring into space. Others were holding their families, sobbing bitterly. Some were beating each other bloody just for a sip of water. A true picture of the apocalypse. I finally found Zone C. My so-called spot, number 273. Was just a 2-square-meter patch of dirt. The spaces next to it were already packed with people. I rolled out the plastic tarp I scavenged. This was my home now. Hey, man, you new here? A tall, skinny guy next to me struck up a conversation. Yeah, I'm Li Ming. Been here for a week. He lowered his voice. Let me give you a piece of advice. Keep a close eye on your stuff when you sleep. We've got all kinds of shady people here. Thanks for the heads up. Where did you come from? South Bank. Wow, that's pretty far. I'm from Yubei. Our entire district is just gone. As he spoke, his voice started choking up. I didn't know what to say, so I just patted his shoulder. At 5 in the evening, the dinner whistle blew. Everyone sprinted toward the cafeteria like absolute maniacs. I ran right along with them. When I got there, I realized why we were running. Rations were limited. First come, first served. The line was insanely long, with people pushing and shoving. Fights broke out constantly from people cutting in line. By the time it was my turn, all that was left was half a bowl of watery porridge and a moldy bun. Is this it? Take it or leave it. The guy serving food snapped impatiently. I held my bowl and found a place to sit. The porridge was so thin, you could literally see your reflection in it. When I broke the bun open, it was completely covered in green fuzz inside. But I ate it anyway. To stay alive, you have to eat. Uncle Joe, a familiar voice called out. It was Xiao Yi. She and Zhang Ting were standing just a few steps away. You guys are in Zone C too? Zhang Ting nodded. We're at number 275. Turns out we were practically neighbors. Xiao Yi cupped her bowl, taking tiny little sips of her porridge. Drink slowly, sweetie. Zhang Ting looked at her daughter with a heartbroken expression. Just then, the loudspeakers crackled to life. Emergency notification. According to our meteorological monitoring, rainfall will steadily intensify over the next week. Please take necessary precautions, and conserve your water and food rations. The rain is getting worse? How much longer is it gonna pour? The crowd started to riot. More rain? We can't survive like this. What the hell is the government even doing? We need supplies. We need food. A few furious guys started shoving the volunteers who were trying to keep order. The situation was about to spiral completely out of control, when a gunshot rang out. Everyone quieted down. A few armed guards showed up. The leader held up a megaphone. You all better behave yourselves. Anyone else causes trouble, you're getting kicked straight out of the shelter. The crowd slowly scattered, but the seeds of panic had already been sown. That night, I lay on the plastic tarp, listening to the sound of the rain. It had been over 20 days. The rain was still pouring. The world was sinking, little by little. And we were just like struggling ants. Zhou Mian, Li Ming leaned in close. What's wrong? Don't you feel like something's off? He looked around, making sure no one was watching, and whispered, this rain is way too weird. It's pouring all over the world at the same time, non-stop for over 20 days. This totally defies the laws of nature. Damn it. I didn't say a word. Actually, I had thought about this too. But what was the point of overthinking it? I heard. His voice dropped even lower. The higher-ups know the truth, but they don't dare say it. Stop guessing blindly. I cut him off. Just go to sleep, no matter what the truth is. There's nothing we can do. Staying alive is our only goal right now. In the middle of the night, I woke up freezing. The nights on the mountain were freezing cold, and the rainwater seeped in. I was soaking wet all over. Next to me, I heard Xiao Yi coughing. Oh no, the kid was getting sick. Day 25, Xiao Yi got a fever. Over 39 degrees, her little face was burning red. She was delirious, mumbling nonsense. Mommy, I wanna go home. Zhang Ting held her tight, tears streaming down her face. Where's the doctor? Isn't there a doctor here? I ran around asking everyone. A doctor? A volunteer smiled bitterly. We only have 2 military medics for over 10,000 people. How could they possibly handle all that? What about medicine? You at least have fever meds, right? They ran out ages ago. Right now, unless you're on the brink of death, there's no way. I got it. Supplies were already extremely scarce. They had to prioritize the working adults. As for the elderly and kids, I'll go look around. I wasn't giving up. After searching the whole shelter, I finally heard there was an old traditional doctor in Sector D. When I found him, he was taking someone's pulse. Doctor, please, I'm begging you to save a child. The old man glanced at me. What are the symptoms? A fever, over 39 degrees. I can't treat a normal fever. He shook his head. No medicine. Then what do we do? He sighed. Find some willow bark and boil it. Might help bring the fever down. Other than that, we just have to pray. Willow bark? I searched the mountain for 2 hours, and finally found a few willow trees. I peeled off some bark and borrowed a pot to boil water. Come here, Xiao Yi, time for your medicine. The little girl groggily took a few sips. She frowned at the bitter taste. Good girl, drink it all and you'll get better, Zhang Ting coaxed her. I stood watching them, my chest feeling tight and heavy. A simple cold was nothing on a normal day. But right now, it could mean life or death. Zhou Mian, Zhang Ting suddenly called out to me. If anything happens to me, please take care of Xiao Yi. Don't say that, I'm serious. She looked me right in the eyes. The way things are now, who knows what tomorrow will bring. Just promise me, please? I looked at her pale, exhausted face, and nodded heavily. I promise you. That very night, a riot broke out. The reason was simple. The dinner porridge was even thinner. It was literally just water. What the hell is this? I risked my damn life to get here, and this is what you feed us? A huge guy kicked over the porridge bucket. That was the spark. All the pent-up rage exploded in an instant. Yeah, we need food. Where are the supplies? Where's the government food? You bastards kept it for yourselves. The mob rushed the cafeteria. The volunteer guards couldn't hold them back at all. Stop, everyone, stand back right now. The armed police moved in, but there were just too many people. Total chaos, shoving, screaming, crying. I shielded Zhang Ting and Xiao Yi, pushing us backwards. Gunshots rang out again. This time, it wasn't a warning. Someone went down. The metallic smell of blood mixed with the rain. The crowd finally froze. Raw fear instantly swallowed their anger. Listen to me, all of you. An officer shouted from above. His voice echoed across the shelter over a megaphone. This is all the food we have left. Rioting won't change a damn thing. If you want to live, stay in line and behave. Anyone else trying to start a riot will be thrown out immediately. And out there is a death sentence. The crowd quietly backed away. But looking into their eyes, something was dying. It was hope. The next day, Xiao Yi's fever went down a little, but the mood in the shelter was even darker. Nervous whispers were everywhere. I heard the shelter up north is completely out of food. The south side is almost gone too. Where the hell is the government? They probably ran off a long time ago. Rumors are spreading like a plague, but the terrifying part is, they might not be rumors. By noon, devastating news arrived. The water level at the foot of the mountain has risen another 50 meters. Now, only this tiny piece of land at the peak is left. Over 10,000 people, crammed into a shrinking space. Like trapped beasts, I look up at the sky. It's still raining. God, what are you trying to do? Day 30. It's been a whole month, and the rain just won't stop. The shelter doesn't even feel like a shelter anymore. It's more like a refugee camp. No, it's worse than a refugee camp. People are dying every single day. Starving, getting sick, being beaten to death. There's no time to handle the bodies, so they're just buried right on the spot. The entire mountain is covered in fresh graves. Mommy, I'm hungry, Xiao Yi said weakly. Today's porridge is even more watered down. We each only get half a small bowl. Zhang Ting gave her entire portion to her daughter. She didn't take a single sip. Sister Zhang, you need to eat something too. I offered half of my porridge to her. No need, I'm not hungry. She's lying. Who isn't hungry? I've already lost over 10 pounds. Clothes that used to fit me perfectly are hanging off me now. Zhou Mian, Li Ming ran over, looking completely panicked. What's wrong? Hurry, come look. He dragged me running toward the top of the mountain. Once we got to the peak, I just froze. Down below was an ocean, a literal ocean. The cities, the villages, the fields, you couldn't see anything anymore. There was only water, endless, muddy brown water. And the mountain peak we were standing on was like a tiny island in the middle of this ocean. Tiny island that was getting smaller and smaller. It's all over, Li Ming muttered to himself. It wasn't just us. A huge crowd had gathered at the peak, all staring blankly at this apocalyptic nightmare. Some people fell to their knees. Some were crying, some were praying. Why? Why is this happening? No one could answer. Right at that moment, the loudspeaker crackled to life. Emergency announcement. Based on our calculations, at the current rate of the rising water, the peak will be submerged within 72 hours. Repeat, 72 hours, 72 hours, 3 days. There was a dead silence, and then an absolute explosion. What? Are you kidding me? What are we supposed to do? Panic spread like a virus. People started fighting and snatching each other's food. Some people started smashing things, while others just broke down and cried. Order had completely collapsed. I ran back to Zone C. Zhang Ting was holding Xiao Yi, trembling. Did you hear that? Her voice was shaking. Did you hear it? Are we going to die here? I couldn't speak. 72 hours. Even if the rain stopped right now, the water wouldn't recede within 72 hours. This was a death sentence. Not necessarily. There has to be a way. I stood up. I'll go ask around. Deep down, I knew there was no way out. But I couldn't just sit here and wait to die. In the middle of the chaotic crowd, I overheard something. East. There's a higher mountain out east. How high? Over 2,000 meters. What was it called again? Yunding Mountain, I blurted out. Yunding Mountain. The highest peak in the region, 2,080 meters. If we could just get there. But, how? It was at least 30 kilometers away. Build a raft. With what? Wood. Chop down the trees. The instinct to survive drove people absolutely insane. Axes, knives, even stones. They used anything they could get their hands on. The trees on the mountain didn't stand a chance. I jumped right in with them. I had to try. Anything was better than just waiting to die. But very quickly, new fights broke out. I chopped this down. Bullshit, it's clearly mine. Over a few miserable logs, people were beating the hell out of each other. Blood spilled onto the mud, only to be quickly washed away by the pouring rain. I dragged a few branches back to Zone C. We stayed up all night building a raft. We leave first thing tomorrow morning. Zhang Ting nodded. She jumped in to help. Xiao Yi's fever had finally broken. But she was still so weak. Uncle, where are we going? To a safe place. Is it not raining there? I gently patted her head. No, the sun is shining there. The little girl smiled. Such a pure, innocent smile. I turned my head away, not daring to look into her eyes. Because I was lying, I had no idea what was waiting for us on Yunding Mountain. Maybe there was absolutely nothing. Maybe it was just another dead end. Day 31 of our escape. At 4 a.m., our raft was finally done. It was rough, but it should float. Let's go, before everyone else wakes up. We quietly made our way down. The water had already risen halfway up the mountain. Just a few hundred meters more and we could launch. Hold on. A voice came from behind us. It was old Wang, the middle-aged guy we had saved on the road. Where are you going? His eyes were locked on our raft. None of your business. I stared at him, on high alert. Ah, don't be like that. We're all in this together, right? He licked his lips. Take me with you. The raft is too small. It can't hold you. Then, how about you give the raft to me? His hand reached toward his waist. It was a knife. What the hell are you doing? Zhang Ting instinctively shielded Xiao Yi. What am I doing? Old Wang let out a twisted sneer. I'm surviving this. Leave the raft, if you know what's good for you. I gripped the wooden stick tight. Make one yourself. Who the hell has time for that? He pulled a knife and lunged at me. I dodged to the side, smashing the stick right into his hand. The knife dropped, and we tackled each other to the ground. He was a lot bigger than me, but I was faster. Mommy, Xiao Yi wailed in terror. In the chaos, my fingers brushed against the dropped blade. I don't know where the strength came from. I just thrust the blade forward. Warm liquid splattered across my face. Old Wang clutched his stomach. He stared at me in pure shock. You, and then, he collapsed. My whole body was shaking. The blade slipped from my grip and clattered to the floor. I took a life. I actually took a man's life. Zhou Mian, Zhou Mian. Zhang Ting was screaming my name. We have to go, someone's coming. A flashlight beam cut through the dark in the distance. I snapped out of it, my hands shaking as I shoved the raft into the water. They can't find out. Anyone caught doing this gets thrown out of the shelter. The raft hit the water, and we scrambled aboard. I rode like a machine, my mind completely blank. The metallic smell still burned my nose. That sickening feeling of the blade sinking in was still on my hands. Zhou Mian, Zhang Ting whispered. I'm fine, I croaked, my voice totally hoarse. You only did it to protect us. Protect, yeah, maybe, but I still crossed that line. In this apocalypse, I'm turning into a monster too. The sky slowly began to lighten. The rain was still falling, just not as heavy now. Yunding Mountain loomed like a ghost in the distant mist. Uncle, look, Xiao Yi pointed dead ahead. The water was choked with floating debris. Scraps of wood, broken furniture, and bodies. So many bodies. Don't look, I quickly covered his eyes. But there were just too many of them, packed tight across the water. They were everywhere. These were all the poor souls who didn't make it out. We were literally rowing through a graveyard. Watch out, a body thumped hard against the raft. It almost flipped us right over. I grabbed an oar and shoved it away. That bloated face, those hollow, empty eyes. I couldn't bear to look any closer. For the next 2 hours, I was running on empty. Let me take a turn rowing. Zhang Ting offered. No need, I got this, I lied. Honestly, I was about to pass out. But I couldn't stop. Yunding Mountain was finally getting closer. But the current was getting dangerously fast. Wait, what was that sound? A deep rumbling. It sounded like thunder, but it wasn't. I whipped my head around, and my heart absolutely stopped. Flash flood, Yufeng Mountain had collapsed, and a massive wall of water was charging right at us. Row, but it was too late. A monster wave, dozens of feet high, blotted out the entire sky. Hold on tight, I grabbed Xiao Yi and braced for impact. The very next second, the world turned upside down. Freezing water violently rushed into my nose and mouth. I was choking, the sheer terror of it. Absolute despair. The nightmare from 5 years ago was happening all over again. No, I refused to die here. I kicked as hard as I could, breaking the surface with Xiao Yi. Zhang Ting, I'm over here. She was holding onto a wooden plank. Not far away, the raft had already completely fallen apart. We could only cling to the debris, letting the floodwaters sweep us away. Thank God the current was pushing us right toward Cloud Peak Mountain. We were so cold and so exhausted. Xiao Yi had passed out. Xiao Yi. There was no response. Hang in there, we're almost there. I didn't know if I was saying it to her, or trying to convince myself. Finally, my feet touched the ground at the foot of the mountain. I dragged Xiao Yi up onto the shore, and Zhang Ting scrambled up right behind us. Xiao Yi, wake up. I pumped hard on her little chest. Gasp, cough. The little girl threw up a mouthful of water and slowly opened her eyes. Mommy's here. Oh, baby, mommy is right here. Zhang Ting held her daughter tightly, sobbing her heart out, while I just slumped into the mud. We actually made it. I looked up at the sky. Cloud Peak Mountain towered straight into the clouds. A whole new struggle was just beginning. Climbing the mountain was way harder than we'd hoped. There were no paths, just jagged rocks and thick mud everywhere. We had to watch every single step we took. Xiao Yi was just too weak. I carried her on my back, with Zhang Ting supporting me from behind. Let's take a break, she panted heavily. We leaned against a massive boulder and looked down. Jade Peak Mountain was completely gone, swallowed whole by the flood. Don't think about it, Zhang Ting said, reading my mind. We're still alive, that has to be enough. She was right, we were alive. We kept pushing up. By the time it got dark, we found a small cave. It wasn't much, but it kept the wind and rain off our backs. Let's crash here for the night. Getting a fire going was the real problem. Everything was soaking wet. We finally managed to scavenge a few dry branches. I flicked my lighter and got a flame going. The warm glow lit up our 3 exhausted faces. Uncle, will we make it to the top tomorrow? Xiao Yi asked softly. We definitely will. To be honest, I had no clue how much further it was, or what was even up there. Were there other survivors? Was there any food? Everything was a total mystery. But I had to give her some hope. I had to give myself hope, too. Outside, the sound of the rain was actually fading. It really was letting up. It wasn't just my imagination. I walked over to the cave entrance and stuck my hand out. Just a few scattered drops. Nothing like the heavy downpours from before. Could it really be? I didn't even dare to hope. We'd been let down way too many times. But on the morning of day 32, right at sunrise, a miracle happened. The rain stopped. It actually stopped. Zhong Ting. I shook her awake. Look, sunlight, real sunlight pouring through the clouds. Oh my god, Zhong Ting gasped, covering her mouth. Mommy, it's so bright, Xiao Yi mumbled, rubbing her sleepy eyes. We stepped out of the cave, and it felt like a completely different world. Below us was still an endless ocean of floodwater, but the sky above was a brilliant blue. And the sun, it felt so warm. The rain was over. It was really over. Zhong Ting threw her arms around me, sobbing with joy, and I broke down in tears, too. 32 days. 32 whole days. We finally made it. Look over there. Xiao Yi pointed towards the top of the mountain. There's smoke, cooking smoke. There are people on the peak. We practically ran as we climbed up, just taking a quick breather whenever we got tired. Once we caught our breath, we kept running. The higher we went, the denser the vegetation became. The trees here weren't dead, and we could even hear birds chirping. A living, breathing world. Finally, we spotted tents. So many tents. And people. Real, living people. Where did you all come from? A man wearing a camouflage uniform walked over. He was a soldier. Yufeng Mountain. We came from Yufeng Mountain. I was completely out of breath. He froze for a second. Yufeng Mountain? Don't tell me you swam here. Our raft broke apart, so we swam the rest of the way. Hurry, get a doctor. He quickly rushed to support us. Brothers, you guys are incredibly lucky. Day 45. The rain had completely stopped. The water level was slowly dropping. It receded over a meter every day. Experts said it might take half a year for it to fully drain away. But at least, the disaster was finally over. The Yunding Mountain Temporary Shelter. Right now, there were over 3,000 survivors here. But compared to the original population of 30 million in the surrounding area, I couldn't bear to think about it. It just hurt too much. Zhou Mian, time to eat. Zhong Ting walked over, holding 2 bowls of porridge. The porridge here was way thicker than what we had at Yufeng Mountain. A steady stream of supplies was being airdropped by the government, and communications were partially restored. I finally managed to contact my parents. They were safe up in the mountains back in our hometown. Hearing that I was still alive, they burst into tears on the other end of the line. Uncle, Xiao Yi came skipping over. This little girl bounced back so fast. She was back to her lively self again. Uncle, the teacher said we're going to rebuild our homes once the water goes away. Is that so? Then Xiao Yi needs to study hard, so you can build our new home in the future. She nodded vigorously. Zhong Ting stood off to the side, watching us. There was a light in her eyes. The light of hope. Zhou Mian, she said suddenly. Yeah, thank you. Hey, stop thanking me all the time. No, I really mean it. She looked right at me. If it wasn't for you, Xiao Yi and I would have been gone. I gently cut her off.